everyone. My name is Natalie Obregon, and thanks so much for joining us. I'm one of the Career and Education Outreach Specialists here with Workforce Solutions, Capital Area, and we have Ms. Stephanie.
Hi guys, my name is Stephanie Calderon. I'm an outreach specialist as well with Workforce Solutions, Capital Area.
And I think that we have something very special for y'all today. We're talking about apprenticeship programs and something called the MC3 Multi-Craft Core Curriculum Program. So Stephanie, I want to say that we have a pretty good grasp on what we do and how we talk to people about it, but do you think we should join someone in? Who do you think we can call in for this?
Somebody who knows about it. Oh, Brian from the local 286. We can totally call him. Do you want me to see if he's available?
Yeah. Can you just send him a quick text? We'll see if he's available. And meanwhile, guys, thanks so much for joining us. Like we said, we're with Workforce Solutions, Capital Area. And we just wanted to kind of provide you some information for you all high school seniors, juniors, but even anyone after 18 years of age that can join us. And I think we're having Brian come on in.
Welcome, Brian.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Awesome. Thanks for making yourself available to join with us.
No problem.
All right, Brian, we have a special event today. We're talking about apprenticeship programs. We thought who else better than Mr. Brian Peabody, our fellow plumber. And we're talking also about the MC3 program. Brian, we wanted kind of to start off with a little bit about how you started. What can you give some insight for students watching this now, for those that are about to graduate, and even some adults, even after 18 years old?
So I actually had no idea that apprenticeship programs even existed. Came from a family that was heavily involved in construction. Most of my relatives all owned their own companies. So I didn't know what an apprenticeship program was, but I knew that I didn't want to work for any of them. So had a friend whose dad was a member of Local 286 Plumbers and Pipe Fitters. And he asked me if I wanted to go to work, and I told him yes. And that's kind of how I got started. He got me a job, and I took it and started working and interviewed for the program, got into the apprenticeship, and the rest of the story was written.
Ah, how old were you?
I was 19, I believe, when I got started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, thanks so much for fitting us in. Stephanie and I have a few questions for you today. If you wanted to sit back for a few minutes and have us fire them off. Is that okay?
Sounds good.
Sweet. All right.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I'll start us out here with the first question, Brian. Do you have to have construction experience to join the MC3 program?
No, you do not. I had a little bit of construction experience coming in, but you know, the MC3 program is kind of designed to show folks that that don't really know a whole lot about the apprenticeship programs that are available to them. So, you know, construction experience, if you have it, great. If not, it doesn't negatively affect you whatsoever. You know, it'll give you an opportunity to look at each of the different trades that have an apprenticeship program and kind of decide for yourself which one interests you the most.
Gotcha.
That's awesome. Another question that I had for you was, then, is it like, what do students have to do to get accepted into the program? Is it merit-based? You know, I know that there's different MC3 programs, but what does that look like?
So the MC3 program itself, you know, it feeds into all the different apprenticeship programs. So the MC3 program, you know, we tried to take as many folks in as we possibly can. Once they apply, their name goes down, and when we hit our max that we have available spots, then we those folks that didn't make it into that one, and we save them for future classes. As far as getting accepted into an apprenticeship program, that kind of changes, and every program has their own way of making their selections, right? Their selection processes all look a little bit differently. I can tell you ours, you know, is with the MC3 program, going through and showing that initiative to take that class and get some of those basic skills under your belt. It certainly improves their chances of getting accepted into our apprenticeship program. The other programs out there seem to be, you know, using that MC3 certification, that certificate, as a positive thing to give them a better opportunity at getting into their program as well. Somebody who doesn't go through the MC3 program you know, they have just as fair shot of getting into a program. You know, they won't have that one thing to put on basically their resume coming in.
I see. So it kind of sounds like you're saying that although it's not a requirement to become an apprentice or to get started in a program, the MSc3 program puts them in a good place for that. Because
Absolutely.
it sounds like you learn different, you know, skills, you're learning the different trades. You know, you're a plumber, but you have friends also that are electricians that work in trucks.
Yeah, and the MC3 program is not going to turn somebody into a plumber. It's not going to turn somebody into an electrician. It's, you know, it's going to teach them, you know, what each of those trades look like, and then it'll get them some basic skills as far as, you know, general construction math, the first aid, the CPR, the OSHA 10, which is pretty much a requirement to get on any job in Austin. You know, so some of those entry level skills you'll definitely have. That you'll get in that class, as well as, you know, a general idea of what those programs look like and what those expectations are going to be for them going forward. So definitely a good opportunity for somebody to take and help improve their chances of getting into an apprenticeship program.
That sounds great. Yeah.
Cool. So it sounds like this is a great opportunity for them to get their feet wet in every single trade and kind of see what their best strength is. Because if I go into it thinking I'm going to be a welder, my heart's set on that, I got generations of welders above me, you know, and then I walk in and see that I'm actually really good and maybe I should pursue electrician instead of being a plumber. Is that kind of like the aha moment you get from some kids?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like everybody wants to be a welder or an electrician, wants to work in construction, and that's great, because those are the trades that they know about, that they're aware of. A lot of folks don't know what a sheet metal worker is. They don't know what a heat and frost insulator is or what they do.
Right.
When we kind of dive in and look at all the different trades and show them what those programs look like, what the typical workday look like, you know, and what they can expect to get into. It's kind of fun. We, you know, whenever we started these classes on the first day, we would say, you know, what do you guys want to, which trade do you guys and girls want to go into when you finish this thing? And it was, everyone wanted to be a welder or an electrician. And as that first class unrolled and we kind of got into it, after a few days, we'd ask them again, well, what do you know, where are you guys thinking now? What do you think you want to get into now? And it was like a slow transition of, at the end, I don't think anybody wanted to be a welder or an electrician. I think I'm like, no, it evened out, and people found other trades that interested and kind of sparked their interest as, you know, learning something new. So
Good. So what do the students need to do in order to make it through the MC3 program?
So in order to make it through the MC3 program, it's pretty easy. You know, show up every day on time, you know, kind of setting the expectations for those contractors, and whenever they get the job and they start doing it for a living. So we do require attendance. So they have to be on time every day. I think they're allowed, if I remember correctly, it's one absence per class, like per session. And then there is drug tests on the front end and the back end, because it's, you know, typical for any construction site. You know, you're going to get drug tested. So we want to make sure that we maintain that clean workforce. And then as far as the requirements go, just a high school graduate. You know, the typical requirements for pretty much the same requirements for getting into a registered apprenticeship program: the driver's license or ID, birth certificate, social security card, and then proof of high school graduation.
Awesome.
And that's the same for an apprenticeship as well, getting through the apprenticeship?
Yeah, most all of them. Yep. As far as how to get through one of our actual apprenticeships.
Right.
I mean, pretty much the same thing. You know, attendance is key. The only added, you know, the only addition to that, I would say, is now once you enter into that apprenticeship, you have the partnership between us and the contractor. So they have to meet our expectations, but at the same time, they have to meet their contractor's expectations. And each program is going to be a little bit differently. Like for our apprentices, if they get fired, then it's, you know, kind of strike one. And if they get fired from 3 contractors in the course of their apprenticeship, then they're removed from the program. So
right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's have the responsibilities. And Stephanie and I, you know, when we present, we tell our students that showing up is A1 is the most important thing you need to do. So yeah, it's great insight. And that's why we wanted you to kind of give us the take of what it looks like from the industry, right? Because we're in the classrooms, but we want to make sure that we're telling the students what they really need to hear. And that's why we really appreciate you talking with us. So yeah, in closing, yeah, we wanted to get this information out there for our students, not just in Austin ISD, but also across districts, because you can be in any of the schools, graduate from any school, have your diploma, like Brian was saying, and join an MC3 program. So, and I think that talking with high school students, not a lot of them know what they want to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So it's great that that MC3 program has that ability to let them explore that. It's so important. So like what I wanted to do, just closing statements, is a recap. What is the purpose of MC3? And why would a student be recommended to going into it, right? We just kind of had that recap. So it sounds like first is for them to explore the different trades. They may not want to be a welder. They may want to be a construction person. They may want to do plumbing. They may want to do ironwork. There's so many different fields, right? And also, who would you recommend it for? Specifically students. Which kind?
So anybody that, you know, that has an interest in working with their hands, you know, likes to work outside, you know, likes to stay busy, you know, an office job isn't for everybody. You know, folks that, you know, we tend to say the folks that like to build things, likes to put puzzles together, likes physical activity, things like that. But in all reality, you know, it's anybody that wants to learn a trade that can provide for them long term. You know, welding is a skill that's not going anywhere. Plumbing is a skill that's not going anywhere. Being an electrician, being an iron worker, being a sheet metal worker, an insulator, you know, a carpenter, all those trades have been around for a really long time. And I don't see them going anywhere for the foreseeable future. So, you know, we like to tell people there is job security there as long as you're willing to take care of it. And, you know, as far as who to get into it, we tell folks all the time, you know, anyone can come in and do this job. It's who is going to take it seriously and put in the effort. You know, the ones that show up to work every day on time with a good attitude and are willing to learn and actually willing to put in the work, because, you know, it is physical labor. So, you know, there is a difficulty aspect to it where, you know, it's not quite like it used to be with the advancement in technology and the way that they've developed tools and things like that. It's certainly gotten a lot easier physically for folks to do the job, but it still is physical labor. So it is hard work. Got to be willing to put the work in.
Well said. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. Thank you so much for joining me too on this webinar. We hope that it's turned out to be supportive for the students that unfortunately we can't see in classes right now. And to that remark, we really hope that everyone's staying safe, staying healthy, and just in cities across Austin, in my own room, and Brian in his office space. So really appreciate it. If you need to follow up with us after this webinar, we have our email is K12awareness at wfscapitalarea.com. Don't worry, we'll have the links below our YouTube channel and on the video, so you can just reach out to us. Stephanie is with Del Valle ISD and Austin ISD. I serve Austin ISD, and we have 2 other outreach specialists. We make up a great team. And Brian has just been super supportive. We want to make sure that the students that want to think of this as an opportunity for them have that avenue. Brian, thank you so much for joining us. Okay.
Thanks for having me, guys. Y'all take care.
Bye, everyone.
Okay. Stay safe. Bye.
Bye.